Call the meeting to order, it's now 6:30. First item is modifications or changes to the agenda. Does anybody have any changes or modifications? No? No. Okay, we'll move on. Next is public comment. Well, we have one visitor here, however, she's covered under the agenda, so we can pass on that. Next one would be review approval of minutes of May the 8th. So everybody had an opportunity to have a look at them, or I'll entertain a motion on it. Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any errors or omissions? Are there any? No? If not, all those indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next one would be the Hayes Farm Road Culvert Replacement Project bids.
Gary, do you want me to
Go ahead,
comment on it?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So if you look in your packets, you'll see a number of different items concerning this part of your agenda. We did get some pretty good bids in. We ended up getting 4 bids total from Goodhue Excavation, Engineers Construction Incorporated, GW Tatro Construction, and Island Excavating. And the low bid for the project was Goodhue Excavating at $138,839. The bid did seem to be in error. There was a very minor discrepancy in the math when our engineer, Tyler Billingsley, went through and did all the recalculations to make sure all the bid tabulations were done correctly. There was a very small error in Goodhue's math, but it was just 20 cents. He made a 20-cent error, so no one feels that is relevant, and it does not change the fact that he was still the low bid. So staff's recommendation is to award the contract to Goodhue Excavation in the amount of $138,839.
We have a motion on that? Second?
I'll second it.
Yep. Motion's covered.
Okay, and that
All
was
those
from
in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Guy, you made the motion?
Yes.
Sam, second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 5, yeah, wastewater allocation payment plan, 261 Main Street.
So if you flip in your packets after the materials regarding the Hayes Farm Road culvert replacement project, you'll see a letter written by Tim and Marvin Johnson. They are co-owners of 261 Main Street. As the board may recall, our last meeting, you awarded another half allocation of water and wastewater units to the property. And I guess what the Johnsons neglected to ask, though, at our last meeting was that they would like a payment plan to make good on the allocation fees associated with the additional allocation award. So you have a letter from them in your packet here asking if they can spread those payment amounts for the wastewater and water allocation over a 3-month period. So the last payment then would be on July 31st, with the first payment being May 31st. So it'll be May, June, and July to make those payments.
Is that the only allocation they've asked for?
No.
Isn't there one before that?
Yeah, they asked for one about a year ago.
Oh, okay. No, I was just thinking that what they're requesting right now doesn't take into consideration the previous one. It's only the current one that they're at?
Right, they actually have paid off.
Paid off the other ones?
Previous one.
That was up on 108.
No, it was the same property at
Oh, okay.
261 Main Street. And in that request, they had asked for 6 months to pay off the allocation fees in that particular request. And so they have done that. They honored the payment plan they had requested, and so those fees were paid off.
Yeah, that has changed a little bit. Originally, it was going to be two commercial establishments in the balance, but now it's three apartments, eh? And one allocation.
Right, so they had to come back in because they changed the use of one of the spaces that they had divided up into the building. And because of the change of use, it required an additional half unit. And that's why last meeting, they asked for an additional half unit so that they would be in compliance with the building because of the change of use in one of the spaces. But they at that meeting, didn't ask for a payment plan on that, so when we told them they were awarded the allocation and here's what the fee is, they said, oh, well, we forgot, we want to ask for a payment plan with that too, so that's what this letter is for from
Okay,
them.
so the first thing we got to do is accept their request for the, they've already bid a lot of that.
Yeah, your last meeting, you
So all
actually,
it is right now is just to.
right, just
in terms of
approving
their
the
budget.
payment plan
Yeah.
to make the payment over a 3-month period.
So what we need is a motion to
I'll make
that
a
effect.
motion.
Sam, you take it? Second? All in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Okay, we're covered 3 bids.
Very good.
Next is Lincoln Park request Enosburg Recreation Committee.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm the new recreation director for Enosburg.
Oh,
So
okay.
nice to meet everybody. This is my first time making one of these requests.
Yvonne Keough, for those of you that haven't met her yet. So, the board has your application in the packet. If you guys want to flip to that, it's actually a series of dates that they're asking to use Lincoln Park on, which are written in here. So they're asking for June 26th, July 17th, and August 14th. And according to the permit request, it says that the Recreation Committee would like to do movie nights for those 3 dates in here.
Yes, that's correct.
So anything else you'd like to elaborate or
Yeah, of course.
talk about, Yvonne?
So this is something that we've seen other communities do, and it's been successful in other communities. I believe Colchester does something called Movie on the Green, and they show classic movies, and the community's already used to it. They look forward to it. We thought it was a great way to get everybody to kind of come together for something family friendly that kids could look forward to. So it's pretty simple. We already have a projector. We would get a screen, and it would be right after the band plays on Tuesday evenings. So there'll be a crowd for the band already, so we know there's going to be some people in attendance. And we also would like to have a food vendor there to provide snacks for people, possibly something like pizza or something that most people like, and distribute promotional items to kind of get people aware that the recreation committee is here, or the recreation department is going to be putting on more of these events, and to look out for us. So.
A food vendor, does that change anything?
Well, it could, depending on what you're doing. I mean, if it was like a popcorn type of thing, probably not. I mean, that's up to you guys, but I would say not. But if you've got someone, right, if you've got like, someone serving burgers and fries or pizza or something, that's more actual food, so it may require a peddler's permit for whoever the vendor is that you bring in to do it.
What if it was a non-profit, local non-profit group?
And I think it's up to you guys, but I think under the peddler's permit, it would still require that, because that's a separate food type vendor.
But you don't know who it is yet.
We're thinking of asking Cold Hollow, the education center.
People would buy a pizza.
Yeah, I guess they've had it at other events and it's been really successful. They pretty much sell out.
That
so.
should be,
Yeah,
it's local. It's, you know.
yeah. I mean, it's up to you guys.
I move we
but
go ahead.
It certainly, I mean, okay, with a food vendor included in that, or not?
Yes, with the food.
Okay.
Would she need the permit for a food vendor anyway, or would the vendor themselves need
Well,
the permit?
that's
With
what
Cold
she's, that's the discussion. I mean, if someone came to you and said, hey, you know, I want to open up a hot dog cart, or I want to do a fireplace pizza thing on, 3 nights out on Lincoln Park, they would absolutely have to ask for a peddler's permit in order to do that.
Well, I think we should specify.
These guys are making the argument that, well, because it's part of this activity that the Recreation Committee wants to do, and we're going to try and use Cold Hollow, maybe, then they shouldn't have to do it. I guess that's up to you
If it's
to
Cold Hollow,
decide.
I'll include that in the,
Cold Hollow,
because it is local, it's a part of the
yeah.
education system.
Another one that, I'm not part of the group anymore, but that, it's nice that other things can make a little money, like I know the Masons do burgers and hot dogs at the Harvest Fest, and they're a nonprofit.
But you're having the Cold Hollow.
We've already reached out to
Yeah,
them.
but they actually have to get a peddler's permit, and they're given that, Susie. In their case, because they're a nonprofit, the board
Yeah.
waives the fee
Oh, yeah.
for it, but they do come in and apply for a peddler's permit to do those events where they're selling things.
On their property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if it's not Cold Hollow?
Well, I put that in there because Cold Hollow is part of us, I guess.
Municipality, tax base, yeah.
And
Well, either way, the movie night wouldn't need a permit, just the peddlers, right? So,
No, the movie, just to show the movie would need.
yeah. So, but
No.
just anyone that you have come and serve food or whatnot would have to apply for a permit, I think.
Okay.
Right?
if it's other than,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to apply for it. I think the appropriate organization would be whoever is actually making the food and selling it.
You're not gonna be making the pizzas on the park, are you?
That it's saying that maybe you wouldn't if they were part of the municipality.
Well, I thought that was part of it. The pizza would be made on the park, or no? Yeah.
I believe they bring their stove and they put it together there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
they put it
it
together
would be
there.
part of the atmosphere. So
Yeah.
it's-
Okay.
You can get food, you
I
know.
would have to stay up
So just to clarify, so if it's Cold Hollow, they don't have to apply, but if it's not Cold Hollow, they should apply?
That's what Guy is proposing.
if that's all right with everybody,
Yeah, sure it is, yeah, by all means.
but it is part of our community.
So, just to clarify further, the first movie night requested is June 26th. So if we were going to have a non-Cold Hollow vendor, what is the deadline to get on an agenda in time to be approved? So we have that.
Well, then,
And we
that
can
would be
make
June
sure.
12th, would be the meeting before the June 26th date. So that'd be their next meeting, June
And
12th.
so you need the agenda items for that by when? Just to make sure if we're trying to line somebody up, that we have that to you in plenty of time.
So if you get a separate person, if we could have that material by June 7th
Okay.
for the June 12th meeting,
When do you deny a peddler's permit?
when do we do not deny one? That's really up to the board of
I mean, do
trustees.
you have like, must be in your rules or something, they have to meet certain criteria, and if they didn't, then you would deny it, or is it?
Yeah, There's not like a list of, criteria that people have to meet, but the board has to have a reasonable feeling of responsibility that, whoever is doing this is going to act according to state health department guidelines, and that's another thing too, is when you're serving food to the public like that, you're supposed to go to the state and get state permits if you're doing that on a permanent basis too. And I know that's, some people do, some people don't, let's be honest about it, it's not always done the way it's supposed to be. So the board needs to have, at least a relatively good feeling of confidence that the party is going to adhere to, health standards and codes. And it also depends whether, it's one night or whether it's 3 or 4 nights, or somebody wants to set something up, for a summer, for a couple of months or something like that. I think all that makes a difference too.
I think ideally if we could find the same vendor for all 3 nights, and if it happens to be someone that's other than Cold Hollow, say a food truck or something comes in from somewhere, I would assume they would have insurance of some sort. We could certainly ask for a liability certificate of liability. So.
Yeah. The board I don't think isn't going after, kids selling lemonade on the sidewalk or anything like that.
I understand where that.
Unless it's bad lemonade.
Right. But, if it's an adult and they're serving food to the public on public property, then they need to have a reasonable, level of assurance that the food is responsible and the person serving it is responsible and it's not going to make anybody ill.
I think we got it.
And yeah, that's it, pretty much, that's our request.
So I heard a motion from Guy to, if it's Cold Hollow, to
Just go ahead.
right, to
Just proceed with
waive the
funds.
peddler's permit. If it's someone other than Cold Hollow, then they would need to come in and get a peddler's permit. Was there a second?
Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to.
Was there a second to that?
I'll second
You've all heard the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Next is, let's see, we've done the Maple Park.
Yep.
No, yeah.
Number 7.
Number 7, Maple Park permit request, Enosburg Public Library. We're all done with that one? Nothing else?
No, we still need to do that one, number 7.
Oh, yeah, okay, Maple Park permit request.
All right, there's a second one
That's for the library.
for the library for
Yeah.
Maple Park,
Yeah.
not Lincoln Park, but Maple
Okay.
Park. So, again, in your packet materials, you'll see a permit request from the Enosburg Public Library. They're looking to do a series of dates over the summer on Maple Park to do a summer reading program for kids in the area. And so they would like to use Maple Park July 11th, July 18th, July 25th, August 1st. And then it looks like also July 6th and 13th.
20th and 27th.
If I can read that.
The 6th, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. So the Wednesday and the Friday.
Oh, I see how it is, yeah.
July 11th, 18th.
Sorry, the eyes are, gotta put the glasses on now sometimes. So, yeah, so it's Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on the Wednesday dates, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And on the Friday dates, 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And so it says, in addition to the reading, they'll do walks, play games, make musical instruments, and have picnics as well as part of the activities for the reading program.
Sounds good.
Okay, motion to allow them to do such a thing? Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next one is downtown holiday lighting request. Last week, or last meeting, if you recall, we talked a fair amount with regards to this proposal that they were requesting from Mary Allison. Guy, I guess you were the only one that was not here on that one. The only meeting that you've ever missed, actually, that I know of.
It was a lengthy conversation, you really missed out. It was a lengthy conversation, you really missed out.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
I don't know what the board's decision are, but originally what they were talking about was that possibly we might want to consider ordering 4 of them because of free shipping. That was number 1. And not only that, then we can take a real serious look at things as to whether or not we should go beyond that. It's entirely up to the board. I think it's pretty reasonable
I
to
think
at
so.
least try it. Certainly no harm in it. If it works out, it works out. If not, not. But what we'll need is the approval for them to go ahead and contact our men here to place their initial order for 4. We have a motion to that effect?
The
Or?
money's already appropriated for this, or?
What's that?
No.
Well, no, we would have to take it out of the Christmas holiday
So-
lighting budget line item.
Our Christmas money is in there anyways. It's a question of which way it's going to go.
I make the motion that we do.
Yeah.
So wait, they're
It's
just
4.
gonna order the 4,
They're going to order the 4 wreaths.
but the lights are
And
gonna
the
stay on
lights, they're
hold?
going to order the lights as well. They're going to make it a finished product, in other words, for us.
She's gonna fluff it up.
Right.
We don't hang them up there, we'll hang them up somewhere else, that's all.
I guess our big concern
And
is
she
if we do
would-
it is.
you know, she would bring 'em in and let you
guys.
guys look at them and see what you think.
Yeah.
That was one of the suggestions, Mary.
She has to help, so,
What's that?
yeah, she has helpers from Montgomery who did a work up in Montgomery, and they're willing to help us out here, so. We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second? Second? Aye? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Ellen, did you make the second on that?
I second. What's
Oh,
that?
I thought you made the motion. Who made the motion?
No, Leonard.
Leonard did, okay, sorry.
They turn out the way she said, they look really sharp. With all our new progress and
Okay, so you heard that then, Gary?
They can
So-
contact me, so know what vendor it is, so I can make an order.
So, yeah, well, I'd say Mary Ann's not here, so she
Okay.
won't know. Give her a call,
Okay.
let her know the board decided to spend the money to have her order 4 as a complete package. And, you know, however that can happen, she had the vendors that she wanted to go to. So if she can order them and we would reimburse her, or, you know, however that would work, if she wants to come in and show you where on her websites she saw these things, and you can order them with her, either way. And then when she's got them all set, then we'll reschedule it on the board agenda then, so the board can look at them.
They're also in here, the.
Yeah.
Should be able to find them.
Yeah.
Well, it's contact or something. Hate to order the wrong ones.
Just a matter of interest, we light up 58 poles. Just counted them all in the locations. She put a lot of work into
Very
this.
thorough, very thorough.
I
Certainly.
got about $4,000 in links upstairs.
Well, we'll still be using them.
Yeah.
This is only, you know, if we go ahead with it, really, it's been suggested really that you keep them all confined to one specific area, rather. so you don't lose the intent of the whole thing, you know. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, 'cause we only have so many hangers, because the hangers are the most expensive part of the whole thing, are the hangers on the poles.
Yeah.
They're about $100-something bucks a piece,
Wonder if you can make them cheaper than that.
maybe.
So we get a banner here.
You had hangers on it, right? She mentioned a
Yeah,
couple
there's
poles
hangers,
that
but I'm
didn't.
saying if we do the grease and we put more hangers up for the lights, we'll only have so many hangers on.
I don't know if that's conflict of interest or
I don't know.
you could probably do it cheaper.
Well, how about putting new Main Street and Depot with, I think the understanding was Main Street and Depot with the wreaths, was that the understanding?
Well, we're not too sure yet.
Yeah, I don't know, let's crawl before we
Yeah,
walk.
yeah.
Let's get the
Yeah.
four wreaths put together first. Let the board look at them and.
Main Street calls for 33, Depot Street calls for 7, Orchard is 9, Pearl Street is 3, Bismarck is 1, and Lincoln Park is 5. So that's assuming we went full board, which is
Pretty
not
much all
our
right.
intentions this year, but that's the total. Okay, moving right rapidly along here. Next one is engine brake ordinance discussion. Well, boys?
All right, so this is a continuation of your discussion last meeting on this subject. And actually, this will be the third time I think we're discussing this topic of an engine brake ordinance. I included in your packet some more material from Amy Gamble at V-Trans, further explaining V-Trans' position about engine brake ordinances and the fact that they do not believe municipalities should pass these ordinances, and they actually, from the Assistant Attorney General, the state Assistant Attorney General, believe that there may be some question as to whether municipalities have the legal right to pass these ordinances. So, again, just want to give you guys complete information. This was some correspondence that I received from Amy over the course of last week, so I wanted to include that in your packet so you saw that in front of you.
Why don't we just put signs up thanking them for not using them, or maybe another way to, instead of an ordinance.
Yeah, well, her position actually, if you read her material, is that municipalities shouldn't be putting
Yeah.
up the soft language
I can
either,
understand that.
as she referred to it, language that doesn't actually have any enforcement behind it but makes the request. She doesn't believe municipalities have the right to do that
To
either.
do that either? Oh,
That's what she's saying.
We don't have the right, or we
That's-
shouldn't?
No, we do not have the legal right to do it. That's, if you read what's written in this
Or
correspondence,
they call them sham signs or something, right?
they called it soft language, is the way she phrased it. Language that didn't actually have any enforcement behind it like an ordinance would, but makes the request that you don't use it. She says, in V-Trans' opinion, and the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Vermont's opinion apparently, is that even the soft language
well,
cannot be
engine
used by
brake
municipalities.
is a safety
But
issue.
I've also given you examples of where it does exist in other municipalities in the state, both in ordinances and in soft language. So whether V-Trans believes municipalities have the right to do this or not, municipalities in Vermont are doing both of these things. So I'm just trying to give you a complete story here, so you're seeing all sides of it.
As far as an ordinance, that would be something like a leash law with dogs. It's
It's hard to enforce it.
hard to enforce.
It is enforceable though.
Right, yeah.
Any local ordinance
Right.
would be enforceable,
Yeah.
but by the sound of it. I mean, there's even what is it, from Scott Rogers saying, is this V-Trans? It's that on number 3 of Scott Rogers' email. He says, we have plenty other high priority work to do. We won't waste any energy actively enforcing engine brake prohibition on class 1 roads. We advise against towns installing signs, but we'll work to educate them on the topic. So by the sounds, they don't even enforce it either.
Well, if the state's against it, they aren't.
Right.
Because like I say, it is a safety issue with engine brake.
Well, it was originally suggested that you use some soft language rather than opposed to getting into anything else at this particular time.
At least Stowe has some signs that says, please do not use jailbreak.
But that's a state highway unless it's been adopted by the town.
100, yeah.
I heard that Main Street is adopted, right? And is it joint or is it total adoption?
It's it's still owned by the state, but there is an agreement between the state and the municipality that the municipality has jurisdiction over certain sections of the highway. And so around the area that we're talking about, which would be Elm Street and Main Street, that jurisdiction ends just short of Water Tower Road. If you're heading northeast on Route 105, you'll notice the speed limit changes just before Water Tower Road from 35 to 25. At that junction where the speed limit changes is about where the village's jurisdiction along Route 105 starts. And then it goes down to here, the southern end of Main Street is, although then it becomes part of Route 108 down here, but that is also within our jurisdiction. And then on Pearl Street, which is 105, it ends right around where the armory is.
Yeah, just beyond there.
Yeah, it's right about where the armory is. Again, you'll see a speed limit sign that goes from 25 to 35, and that is where the village's jurisdiction ends on that section of 105.
So is that maintenance jurisdiction, or is that, have we totally adopted those?
So what that means is we have control over, things like parking, speed limits. We have maintenance responsibilities. So, if you get a pothole, the state's not going to come in and fill that pothole. We have to go in and fill the pothole. We have plowing and sanding responsibilities. The state is not going to plow or sand those sections of 105 or 108 that are our jurisdiction. And one might think perhaps we have control over other ordinances as well, but in this case, V-Trans position is saying they don't believe so when it comes to engine brake ordinances.
Not on their roads, anyway.
That's what they're saying. But we know there are other municipalities in the state that have both ordinances and soft language, and they are enforcing those laws. And, well, they're not enforcing them where it's only soft language, but the signs are up. So, I don't know what the state, would do, but these things are up in other municipalities, so there's obviously a precedence for it, even though V-Trans is telling us they don't believe we have the right to do either of those options. So just to finish the discussion about, so what are the different responsibilities over the sections of state highway that have municipal jurisdiction. So we have all those other responsibilities, but what is not our responsibility is to actually pave the road, which is why back in 2014, when Pearl Street, Main Street, Elm Street, West Enosburg Road, West Berkshire Road were all paved, those are all sections of 108 and 105, those were not village projects. We did not do those projects. We did not pay $1 for those projects. The state paid for all of that paving because that's their responsibility, even though it's our jurisdiction. it's still technically owned by the state as part of those state routes. And they do still have the responsibility to pave those roads when they need to be paved, which is why for 4 years, I hounded Montpelier to come up and pave Main Street and Elm Street because they were in such horrible shape. And it took a long time to get their attention to those roads, but after about 4 years of calling and harassing them, they finally did it. They finally put it in the budget, came up and did the projects. But you may recall, those roads were in pretty tough shape in 2014 when they came up here and did that, especially Elm Street. It was in awful shape, terrible. But the everyday maintenance of the roads is our responsibility. So if you get a pothole, plowing, sanding, taking care of any, parking related issues, we have responsibility to set the speed limits, all of that. That's all municipal responsibility to take care of.
So that brings us back to the engine brakes. What is the board's decision? Do you want to table it? Do you want to proceed with it, or whatever? Soft language, or hard language? Or do we have any comments to make on that?
I don't think we need to make an ordinance.
No?
Not right now, anyway.
That's number one out. Okay. What about soft language signs?
Which the state is saying they don't want them on the main drag, which is where we would need them. So that's kind of
So there's really,
on the
they've done
table
it.
too.
Jonathan's pointed out communities have done it, so I think.
Right, yeah, I mean, they could probably hang signs. The state's going to say no, but what are they going to do, take them down?
Yeah, I don't know what their reaction would be, but they do exist in some other municipalities.
My only other thought is, and I'm not sure what those signs are. It's got the cow on it, says welcome to Enosburg Falls, Vermont, blah, blah, blah. That to me doesn't scream state sign. So if you put the police no engine brake sign on that sign, like hanging off the bottom or something, you know what I mean? Is that that's the only other thing that I can think of that may possibly
What was
work.
that?
You know the big plywood signs with like the painted cow on it, like right over by Norm Kuchar's there's one, and there used to be one over by Leach's Pit.
Yeah, that might, not to cut you off, Sam, but that actually might be more of a problem because both of those signs are outside of our jurisdiction.
Okay,
They're not, they're actually in the state's jurisdiction on 105.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's another thing where the Lions Club's involved. And
Yeah.
things for the community.
Yeah. Well, that was it. So, what are we thinking? Yay or nay?
anybody else have any thoughts?
I go along with this, with the signs thing, and we're not using them myself. What would it cost to put those signs up?
Oh, I don't think a lot.
Not a heck of a
What do you
lot.
think,
Nickels
Gary?
and dimes.
Yeah, so probably the sign, just trying to think
A
off.
few $100s, we'd
Yeah,
probably,
probably each sign plus a post,
we'd
probably,
probably need 1, 2, 3,
you're probably looking at
four,
$150
five,
each.
maybe
probably.
5 or 6
I'm
signs.
guessing, not off the top of my head, depending how big they are, because if you pay by the square inch,
You can't put one of those signs on a speed post, like an already existing post.
I don't know if the state would.
I don't know,
maybe,
that's double talk.
I don't know, I don't know if the state would allow, I'm not sure, that's the hindrance. I know it has to be a certain height, I know like most has to be 7 feet for,
Yeah.
so it may have been a separate post. So I'm thinking just the post and the sign, because if you pay by the square inch, like it works safe, depending what size sign you do, like a regular stop sign, and the post costs about $150. That's the price, that's 2 years ago, I don't know if it's changed or not, but.
Right.
So we need 4 signs.
I'd say probably maybe 4 or 5.
The Pearl, Elm.
Yeah, because you'd want it from both
Yeah,
directions too,
108 north.
remember.
So just
Because you
4.
want it for both directions, coming in and leaving the village.
No.
No, just going in.
Just coming
I
in.
think the only
Right, but
question
so
is
you
when
need
they're coming
one on Elm, but you've also got 108 coming in
So there's two.
on Elm too, so there's 1, 2. You'd need one on Pearl, right?
keep in mind, these signs have no backing to them, so we can really do whatever we want.
Right, but I'm just thinking, if you want people to see them, if you want truckers to see them, you need to place them strategically so that, at least they have a chance to see the signs.
Right.
So then you'd need one on Pearl, and you'd need another one on West Enosburg Road, right?
Rural West
Coming in, so maybe that's 4.
Unless you put it on this side of West Enosburg Road, and then you cut, West Enosburg.
That's out here,
Yeah.
this way?
And so we own, our responsibility, we have almost by Henry's, right? Is that where our limits end?
Yeah, our jurisdiction,
I think right after that.
well, actually,
Just
our jurisdiction actually ends
Right
like,
past the Hayes Farm Road, right?
yeah, right about at Hayes Farm Road
Do
is
you get a lot
where,
of trucks on that?
on that part of 105.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I would say 4 at least.
Just, 4. Because, I mean, I don't think you need double signage, because either way,
Yeah, you're right.
if you're going on Main
wouldn't-
Street, you're gonna pass one.
Yeah, you're right, you wouldn't need it leaving, you
don't
just need
need
it
one
coming
leaving.
in, so.
Really, you don't
but
need to go on
you'd
until
still
either.
need- I think you'd still need at least 4.
Basically coming down Elm Street, really.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like, if there's no ordinance behind it yet, then we don't really need there must be some sort of sign coverage rule that you go by, so you wouldn't even need that. So, I mean, in theory, you could just put one on top of Main Street, 'cause that's where everyone's having a hard time about it, right?
Right, coming down Elm Street.
Just
yeah.
one at the top of Main Street,
I
and then,
think either Jake Gregg, they turn into Pearl Street sometimes, you hear them using the Jake Gregg in that corner.
Pearl Street.
Pearl Street here,
Right.
right, so.
oh, to make the stop here,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so, 2.
But otherwise, they're stopping at this stop.
I mean, unless we want to do 108 south, 108 north, 105 east, 105 west, that would be the only way to cover everything. So it'd be 4 signs. I mean, they don't have to be that big, just like you've seen Stoves,
I see, yeah, they're about this big, I think.
18 by 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
We don't want to be waking
bigger.
Leonard up too early in the morning. Want to get a good night's sleep.
I gotta look at my
Sleep
kids,
like a
I'll go up to Stoke, I live with my mom at Stoke, take a picture of it.
So is that the plan then? We want to
Well, I
go
just
ahead with
suggested I'd
soft?
be in favor of that, myself.
As long as we know what we want to do here before we move on.
Because there's not going to be any enforcement anyways. The
No,
time of
there's
day-
not.
The time of day those are bothering is when there's no enforcement out there.
So are you proposing then that we have 4 signs made up?
I'm just throwing that out, see what everybody thinks.
You can always add another one later. Why don't you
Right.
start?
Are you proposing or making a motion?
I'll make a motion.
You're making a motion?
Yeah, why-
Okay, he's making a motion that we provide 4 signs.
Strategically placed
Yeah,
on Main and Elm
yeah,
Streets?
with soft rewording, I guess. Okay, we have a second to that
I'll
motion.
second
A
that.
second, well, there you go. Okay. We've all heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. There, by God.
What was that?
We're gonna get good sleep.
yeah.
Okay, next item is Harvest Festival EBA street closure request. If you recall, Susie Hull was in for our last meeting there, and it was suggested that she contacts Champlain Chevrolet. I see she has, and it says here, hoping you'll make a decision based on the updated information. I talked with both Brian and Len together. They have no problem with it, and they close at noon on Saturdays, so there is minimal impact. So, as far as they're concerned, we're not disrupting anybody or anything
Right.
like that. So,
So their thought was to close from Main Street when we started our festival and have the other side closed off for through traffic so that they can pull onto the street and go into the dealership, but they can't go all the way
Yeah.
through. And then they get done at noon and we could move the barrier down until the horses are done. I think we get done at 2.
So we're not interfering with anybody. We have a motion to that effect. We authorize the business, or the
Make motion.
group. Second,
I'll second that.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
While I'm here,
Go ahead.
I wanted to thank Gary for the help we're having with the Opera House. If any of you know, we had sewage issues, and they backed up on prom night, and the village, I was listening to the town, requested some help. You guys are straight out getting ready for dairy pageant, so he wasn't able to offer manpower, but was able to offer equipment, and Joey's gonna take care of it to fix a sewer pipe where the clean out lifted up from probably frost, and then rocks and stones got in there. And I'm kind of apprising you of that. They manage it, but you guys are part owners of that.
Operating the backhoe, so.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to Joey this morning.
The
Yeah.
board hasn't discussed
Oh.
that.
So anyways,
That's
bigger
something you were
picture,
gonna be
Right.
discussing under other business, because we didn't find out about this until yesterday, that this was being requested, so couldn't put it on the agenda, but I had this to ask you under other business, whether this was something you wanted to give permission for the highway department to assist the town
that's
with.
exactly what, I'm glad you're putting it that way. I would
So
hope that you would be.
We're gonna talk about that under other business.
I really want to get out of here. My family's been away for an hour and 15. I just want to say a quick thing before I get out, that he's got things that need to be done for the, Dairy Day, and as you know, there's probably going to be 250, 300 people at the Opera House for a dairy pageant, so, we were under a little bit of stress as well, and when the village requested it, we were told they had to do a formal letter of request and get on the agenda. And I'd really like you guys to think about giving Jonathan that purview, that if we were in a situation like this, and say that sewer pipe happened 4 days before the pageant and there wasn't time to do a meeting, that he would have the authority to be able to get something done in an urgent situation. We've got it covered with the help, and you're going to discuss it, and that's great. But I would like to plant the seed of, making sure that your manager has the authority to make a quick decision if need be, versus everything having to be pushed out to a meeting on something like that, particularly since you are joint owners of the building. It's a matter of, coming together with people and equipment, and not asking for a big expenditure to hire somebody to come in and do anything. It was kind of like a collaborative thing, but it's getting done. It's not the instance that I'm talking about now. It kind of brought to mind that, if we were in a short time crunch or whatever, and Jonathan doesn't have that leeway to do that, that's kind of unfortunate in something like this type of situation. I will be coming back to you later to talk about a drainage issue around it and another cooperative venture, but we don't have a time crunch on that. There's nothing urgent, and I'll come back another time to talk about that. But I just really felt like, as the village manager, he should have that authority to be able to do that in something that seems quite logical like that. And I just kind of plant that seed with you. And thank you for the Harvest Fest, and thank you for whatever cooperation you decide to give us. Just kind of throwing that out.
Very good.
Sorry, I screwed up your agenda.
Oh, no, I
wasn't even
It
sure
sound-
when it was on the agenda.
It sounded like you were saying it had already been done,
No.
but they actually hadn't talked about it yet, and
Yeah.
that's why I was interjecting, just saying, well, actually, they haven't discussed it yet,
No.
but they're going to discuss it.
Yeah. I just, think some of these things are like just real common sense, and all have been very supportive of these things, and, to have his hands tied on time-sensitive issues seems unfortunate if they're tied, so just wanted to throw that out there. If you understand what I'm talking about.
Certainly no harm in having some sort of an agreement, whereas, we work jointly together on it, and that you don't necessarily have to come to the total board. The person in charge of whether it's the roads, the highway, the sewer, whatever, if they feel comfortable and able to make that, and with Jonathan, go ahead and do it by all means,
No, it has to be someone that
I
has
think
to
the
be
last
taken
thing
care of.
we want to say is that we missed out on 4 or 5 days, because we've got to wait 4 or 5 days to get something repaired that has to be done immediately. Yeah, but we'll look into
Well,
it.
we all feel the pressure in this town when Dairy Day.
I'm sure you do.
Like, you guys are
Yeah.
scrambling, we're scrambling.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was bad enough, the little girls with prom dresses had to go over to Legion to use the loo, but that's all right, you know, it worked out. So, thank you.
okay.
My scooter. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, what else we doing? Next is manager's report.
Okay.
I got mine if you want it, John. You want this one?
No, I got it.
Oh, okay.
All right. So first thing, want to let you guys know I had a meeting with Jim Cameron from the Enosburg Initiative Group and Shauna Lovelet, who just left from the Enosburg Business Association last week. The meeting took place last week, and among other items that we discussed, Jim Cameron told me he would like to have the initiative group have a monthly slot on the Board of Trustees agenda. The purpose for that would be to be able to have some direct back and forth with the Board of Trustees regarding issues that the initiative group is working on, and also to get some feedback from the board, you know, if there were certain items that they wanted to hear from you directly about. I didn't respond. I didn't tell Jim either yes or no. I just told him I would discuss this with you as a board and, you know, see what your thoughts were about this. So I posed that question to you. Is that something you're interested in doing?
Yeah, as long as he has a slot and doesn't show up.
Long spot.
As long as he makes a monthly slot and doesn't show up.
So do I take that as a
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
affirmative? Okay, everyone's okay with
Yeah,
doing
it's,
that?
No, I don't have any problem.
Okay, so it'll maybe be, well, I'll follow up with Jim and Sean on about it, but, you know, so maybe it'll be like the first meeting of the month, then we'll put like 20 minutes or something on your agenda for them to come in and talk with you, whoever they want to bring from their group for that night. Okay. Also wanted to make you aware that we had a change order. This would be the first change order for the diesel #1 Interpretive Center Eco Park project. Excuse me, the change order request was in the amount of $4,900. I approved that change order. This was for the second phase. So the total of the contract was $84,572. And with the change order, then this would bring the total contract to $89,472, still well within the budget. And on the back of the manager's report, I attached the change order request from Dubois and King, our engineers on the project. And so just wanted to make you guys aware of that. Next thing, I wanted also to communicate to the Board of Trustees that the proposed solar project at the Nutshell storage facility has had an objection filed to the Public Utility Commission on it. It was filed by your staff here at the Village of Enosburg Falls on the grounds that it is our opinion the delivery point to the project regarding the electricity should be changed in the engineering plans, and that the line extension should be upgraded to 3-phase power. Our staff feels strongly that these are reasonable requests and that these changes to the scope of work should not be the burden of other ratepayers in the system, so the developer should pay for those changes. So we have filed an objection to the project based on those reasons to the Public Utility Commission on your behalf, and just want you
How
to be
far
aware
does
of
3-phase go up there?
I think it goes up to where the industrial park is, if I'm thinking correctly.
How about leaches? How
Right.
did they
They're three-phase.
Yeah, it already went up that far.
Oh, it's up to
So it's
each.
Leach's
But
pit.
this is beyond
This is
that.
beyond it.
I know, but they're not far
This is,
from
this
it.
is down past White Road.
They're probably a couple poles from.
Does those panels generate three-phase?
It's 150 kV, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's needed anyway.
Well, it should be, it's our
Dave said
opinion.
it would, it's easier to balance. You have a single phase, they gotta work on balancing it with certain equipment, so.
And did Leach's have to install or pay to install three-phase from the industrial park up to their pit?
Yes, they hired Swanton.
So,
Because the methane, a lot of times they want three phase, or they have to have three, I'm not sure what
yeah.
I'm talking about here.
Either way, that's
Yeah,
just
they
there.
don't have it,
Leach's had to do it.
they don't have it up there. They have single phase. You're talking about up on Boston Post Road. Yeah, that's a little different situation. It'd be a lot more difficult.
Well, not just Enosburg, but the one in Swanton here, the big farm.
Well, they only have to put three-phase in from Leach's pit to White Road, which is.
No, that's no
30
big
mile.
thing. No. But down there, they had to put it into the pulp mill over to out by Bob Parrott's farm there, on the
Yeah,
Topwoods
yeah.
Hill Road. Well, I know their name, I can't,
It's
Big farm.
Keynes,
huh?
Tom King, Aaron King.
King?
Keen.
No. This is on Topwoods Hill Road.
Oh.
In the town of Sheldon, Swan, Highgate, somewhere
We
there.
wanted to change the delivery point because,
The ones that used to do the
where
chipping.
they had it before, we had to maintain the transformer.
Right.
We don't feel that way their transformer, they can maintain them.
Right,
So we want to go from the disconnect back to our poles, and they can have the.
and they're generating power, not
Right.
you, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So why should the ratepayers pay for it? Maybe the
Yeah,
transformers,
that's right.
replacing the transformers, and all that kind of stuff. That can be their nut.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're losing money on this anyway. I mean, this is not a win situation
No.
for us, so why should our ratepayers on top of it?
No, we don't need to be paying to
those
install
upgrades?
equipment so they can.
And that's
generate.
all we're saying in our objection is, these
We shouldn't be
changes
subsidizing.
need to be made, in order to maintain the system efficiently. And it's our opinion that the Village of Enosburg Falls ratepayers should not be held responsible for.
That's right.
The developer should
That's
be
right.
held responsible for.
Yeah.
And that's why we filed the objection. So the PUC then will, they'll look at our objection, and they will make a determination whether they agree with our points or not, and let us know.
It's not a long line, so
No, not that long. I mean,
less than a mile.
oh yeah, way less than a mile. Yeah,
Oh, it's probably 2 poles
yeah,
from leaches.
yeah. We feel, your staff feels it's a reasonable request.
Yep.
3.
It's not like, the situation you had mentioned, Guy, with the methane digester plants up
Yeah.
on Boston Post Road, where, you'd have many, many miles of, line upgrades you'd have to do in order to get three-phase power up to those digesters, and that would be, truly probably a hardship for the Jarvis family to take on. That would be extremely expensive to do that. But we think this is a reasonable request to make. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. We filed an objection on the project with the Public Utility Commission, and we'll see how they land on their decision about that. Then a couple other things. Just thought I'd let you guys know. You recall back in March, we did kind of a walkthrough visit with Congressman Peter Welch, and had some very good discussions, I think positive discussions with him about the Enosburg community, brought him to a number of businesses in our downtown area, and he sent me a little thank you letter that I got a couple of weeks ago, just saying he enjoyed the visit, thought it was great, and sent me a couple of photographs. I thought it's kind of nice of him to do that. They're not half bad photographs either, so I just thought I'd pass those around, let you guys see those. And then lastly, under managers' reports, some kind of sad news. I don't know if everybody is aware of this or not, but over the weekend, Ron Dusso passed away. Ron was a very long time member of both the Village of Enosburg Falls Planning Commission and its Development Review Board, and was the chairman of the Development Review Board for a very long time, many, many years, and was on both of those boards right up until we consolidated planning and zoning departments with the town, and at that point he stepped down when it became a town function rather than a village function. But
He also handles the antique railroad station that's
Yeah.
in town, yeah.
yeah, he was very
Spent hours and
involved.
hours there.
Been on the fire
So-
department for years.
Yeah, and he was a member on the fire department too. So Ron was, I think, really involved in this community in a
Yeah,
lot of ways.
I think
And
so, yes.
a few years ago, you guys actually dedicated our annual report to Ron.
Yep.
I think that was in either 14 or 15 when you guys did that. So I just thought, in case there was anyone who wasn't aware of that, I'd pass that information on
Yeah.
to you. And that's it for, pardon?
Oh, yeah. Right across the road.
Right across from you, pretty much,
Yeah.
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 He graduated with my grandfather.
And his wife is in the hospital. She was going to the hospital to see him or something like that. She fell asleep on the interstate.
No.
And
Gary, do you want to see them?
No. I saw the accident, I saw the accident that she had, I went through that
Oh.
day.
Oh,
She had the
wow.
ledges,
Goodness.
I don't know if she fell asleep or what, she had the ledges, and all the airbags were deployed, and her car was really messed up.
Here you go, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's all I had for
Yeah.
manager's report.
Anything else under other business, or if not, we'll move on, then I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
We have one thing under other
Yeah.
business.
Other business?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have one thing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So other business, this is the issue that Susie started talking about a little bit with you guys. So I'll just pass these down. This is a letter that was written by, well, actually it says it was written, I thought it was written by Billy Joe Draper, the town clerk, but she's actually signed it from the Town of Enosburg Select Board. But in any case, the Town of Enosburg is asking for assistance from the village regarding some issues with the Enosburg Opera House. As they point out in their letter, this is a jointly owned building, and they're having some drainage problems regarding the building. Gary
Keep all
has...
that for what it's worth, to give you an idea.
Gary has been talking with Susie Hall-Parent and I think some other members of the... Joey Clark, so from the town, to get an idea of, you know, exactly what kind of help they're looking for from the village to help them with their immediate drainage problem. Apparently there's a few different things, but right now, they're just trying to deal with a more urgent situation and get it done and taken care of before the Dairy Festival takes place. And Gary, do you want to talk to the board a little bit about what that work
What would happen
involves?
is they have a sewer line, and there's a clean out that the frost got a hold of, and the clean out has popped up and it's filled full of gravel. So basically, what they want to do is dig up the clean out, repair the clean out, and it's probably an hour's work. You know, it's not that big a deal. So I said we could probably, you know, free up our backhoe and Kenny to dig the hole for them instead of them moving their backhoe all the way from West Enosburg up here for, you know, for an hour's work. So I said that we could probably, you know, free up our 410 backhoe for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes. But, and leave other guys doing our mowing and, you know, our garbage and all that stuff. So I thought that, no, I think we can free up our backhoe for an hour. I mean, it's not that big, it's not that big a deal.
And as Susie was saying earlier, if like an emergency or an urgent situation came up, as head of public works, would you want to take care of
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if, you know, if it's something we can do and we're, you know, we're available, you know.
Yeah, I would stop short of just giving, you know, kind of carte blanche on that, because depending on what it was, it
What
could
it
be
is.
rather expensive.
Right.
And, you know, I don't think you want us coming in and saying, well, you know, there was something happened up there this weekend and it ended up costing us $8,000 to get that fixed. You know, I mean, if you're okay with that, then I guess you can,
If they
you can
have a
say that,
problem.
but
Oh, yeah, it'd be a reasonable
With the
amount.
short
Right.
of water, I think we have to take.
If there's ever an emergency,
Right.
it's a different thing. The situation for pre-planning, that's a horse of a different color,
Right.
really, you know.
They have a water leak or, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I mean, I think we should take it. But it's not, I don't believe it's jointly owned. It's owned by the town, we're part of the town. It's a general fund item.
yeah, for those of you that don't know, it's a different kind of arrangement. The town is right, and we've looked through
Oh, yeah.
the land records in the past, because this is not the first time this issue has come up. The building is actually jointly owned by both the town of Enosburg
Oh, it is.
and the village of Enosburg Falls. However, a long time ago, long before I was here, there was an agreement that was made between the town and village that the town would be responsible for maintaining the building, because otherwise you run into the issue of double taxation, which is, you know, a problem we've had with a number of different topics in this community. You know, if you're splitting the costs equally between the two municipalities, what really ends up happening is town residents are only paying for a quarter of the expenses, and village residents are paying for 75% of those expenses. Because village residents then are paying 100% of the village tax on it, and then 50% of the town tax on it. So it's, you know, it's a little hard to, when you have issues like that where you're saying you're gonna split the cost 50-50, you know, there's an equity issue there of, okay, is this really fair to people that live in the village? And, you know, when you do the math, clearly the advantage is obviously of people that live in the town. So, that was another one of these issues where a long time ago it was agreed the town would accept responsibility for the maintenance of the building. But every once in a while, something like this comes up, and, you know, we get a call from Susie or someone else that's involved in the Friends of the Opera House Association, and they say, hey, you know, village, can you give us a hand on something here? So that's why this is coming back to you. It's not typically something we would do. We don't generally maintain the building because of this agreement. It's really the town's responsibility to do maintenance of the Opera House, and that's why you don't see anything in the village's general fund addressing any maintenance issues with the Opera House, because it's all in the town budget.
So in theory, if there was any emergency or urgent situation, it would be the village, or the town's job essentially to fix that, not ours. Anyway.
Right, but every once in a while, they come to us, doesn't happen often, but, you know, every once in a blue moon, like they're doing now today, they do come to the village and say, you know, hey, we could use some help on this, would you mind helping us? And so that's why I've always brought it back to the board to say, well, you know, do you want us to help them with that or not? And we usually ask to, you know, get some cost estimates so we know what kind of money we're talking about. Now, in this case, it doesn't sound like it's a lot. Gary's saying it's,
Maybe an
you know,
hour
the
and a
use of the
half.
backhoe for about an hour or so, and that's, you know, certainly reasonable, something I think we can do. But-
It was mentioned as a drainage problem. You
they're
could
talk-
get into a lot of money.
Right, well, there's
That's another-
apparently
that's another horse.
more to what's going on up there, and
Well, we're
Susie
lucky, I
said
thought.
at a later time, she may come back to you guys.
Right. They want to put a
A
footing
different
around it.
request on some different drainage issues they're having up there, but their immediate concern is to get this one taken care of before the Dairy Festival, so they can at least get the building,
Yeah.
you know, operational for the Dairy Festival.
Like the update, we picked up our pickup last week for the meter reader. And we put the flowers at the bridge this week. The second and fourth graders from the Enosburg Elementary School and Kim St. Pierre, her class, installed the flowers. Saturday, the boys worked all day with ECI and they got all the streets done except for St. Albans Street, East Street, and Railroad Street.
You came up pretty good with that, really?
Yeah, it went pretty well. We have about 40 yards of sand from off the streets that fell over our yard.
Yep. Want to recycle it?
I don't think you
Next year?
recycle that, it's pretty awful looking stuff.
A little muddy.
So to come back to the town's request, it sounds like, is there a consensus then from the board
Oh,
to?
no doubt about it.
Oh, I think we should
Go
do it
ahead
on a
and give them a hand with
case-by-case
that.
basis, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, as far as delegating somebody to take care of those situations on our end, I don't think it's necessary since they're the ones in charge of maintenance and upkeep anyway.
We don't have a cash back visa, do we? That's
and
what,
if it, and I think if there were really like an emergency, like, water was
oh, yeah.
gushing out of the ground somewhere, and flooding Depot Street, obviously we would band together and do what we had to take care of a.
I think we
Yeah,
got a lot of
some-
sewer
usually
problems,
floods
it's up to
anyway.
us to, that's our lines, but anything else
Yeah,
should be going through the board, I think.
yeah, that's historically how
Yeah.
it's been done.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so if there's nothing else under other business, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Thank you, Gary.
Leonard made a motion.
I made a motion.
Oh, Sam made a
Second?
motion.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.